I've actually received psychic downloads that have saved my life from a double murderer. This is talking about my experience. When I was a child, many years ago, there was a double murder in my area. I don't want to mention the names. If you're into true crime, you'll be able to look this up. There was a woman, two women who were murdered in my local area. One was a prostitute and one was her bodyguard, Madam, I think. I'm not 100% sure. It was high profile. Still a cold case. It's unsolved. They found one of the women shot dead. Her body was found on a creek bed in my local area. Oh, and also there was a third victim who was not killed. The daughter of the prostitute, known as Bambi, she was tied up and essayed in the bushland only a few streets down from where I actually lived at the time. A lot of you may be very critical of what I'm about to tell you. They had the daughter. She was able to visually identify what he looks like. It doesn't exist on the internet anymore. You cannot find a picture of this. Basically, a police officer would have to confirm what I'm saying. A couple of years down the line, I was walking away from my local train station. There is a back pathway that runs along residential houses. It has surveillance now. I don't believe it did at the time. So I was walking down this long path. I got this odd feeling of not feeling safe before I saw anybody. And then this gentleman in his 40s, very scrawny build, wearing stubbies, black or dark grey stubbies. He was wearing black and blue checkered or plaid fleece shirt, long sleeve shirt. So it was very hot for the time of the year. He was wearing Mako glasses. This was a very long time ago. I was like 13, maybe around 13 years old at the time. His hair was balding and receding at the top. And also, what I recall, he had three prominent moles on his face in a perfect triangle that was upside down. One there, one there, one there. He was trying to conceal with a beard. That triangle is what got my attention. I had already walked past him by this point, and my brain instinctively told me to turn around. And then I swear I heard a voice in my head very loud say, "Do not turn around. That is the person who murdered these two people, and he will not kill again. But if he thinks that you recognize him, he will kill you." And because I lived in the local area, and the voice in my head alluded that he lived in the local area and that he remained in the local area even after the murders and has continued to live in the area, which I will go into later, I decided to never speak this to assault. How are you going to explain that a voice in your head told you that you saw a murderer? Like, I couldn't have a proper look. I saw the three moles on his face, and that's on the identikit, distinguishing features that they mentioned at the time, but this was a couple of years later. I could not turn around. The voice said if I turned around, I would be killed. He would follow me home and he would drag me to those same bushes that he dragged that girl to. Unlike her, I would not come out. I recently had a download about that again in regards to that murder. It was when Bunnings was in a lawsuit in relation to facial recognition. His identity was captured in the data of the people who visited that store. If I told anyone about it, that would give legal precedence to Bunnings and a whole bunch of corporations to do mass capture, mass surveillance, because they would use it as a successful case study for why mass surveillance works. That's going to piss a lot of people off, but this is a situation where sometimes as a person with intuitive gifts, you have to make a decision to understand the implications of your silence and also the implications of speaking up. So anyway, I thought I would share that story with you. If there's any police officers who would like to verify my story, because you will have access to cold case files, you will be able to see whether or not this man in the identikit has three prominent moles in an upside down triangle. This man has covered this with a beard in the footage because he stayed in the local area of which those murders occurred. He visited his local Bunnings, even though he has kept a beard. Spirit told me he at some point was captured, and those three prominent moles would be a match. I don't know if that's of value to anyone now, and I probably should have spoke up at the time, but you know what? Police don't take psychics very seriously. They need chain of evidence. Back when I was 13 years old, no one would have listened to me anyway. I didn't actually turn around and confirm what my eyes initially saw. I trusted my intuition. My anecdote and an example of how important it is to develop your intuition, not for the benefit of others, but for the benefit of you, for your own personal survival. I wouldn't have told when there was only going to be a risk to me. And I completely forgot about it when Spirit decided to drop that information on me. I don't know what else to say. I actually have a couple more stories like that. Spirit identified a name through automatic writing that was very similar to Daniel Morecambe's killer, and how there is an unsolved assault, and they gave me a name. What am I supposed to do? Run around to the police and go, quick, harass this guy. Check out Brendan Owen. He visited Super Cheap Auto or some kind of auto shop at Mango Hill before he committed the offense. No one's going to believe you. You're just some nut. So anyway,